Congratulations on this brand new single, Head. We've been playing it on our show now for the last week, and it's been getting some great feedback, so congratulations.
Well, first of all, let me thank you for inviting me. Second of all, I'm beyond thrilled. It's not to be overstated how much I appreciate that you're playing the song, because I know and understand how much music comes to you, especially now that you've got a lot of independent artists that are vying for your time. So I genuinely appreciate that you're giving it some time. Thank you.
Not a problem at all. And from what you said about with independent artists, do you think that the last couple of years with the pandemic and the lockdowns and everything, that has changed the music landscape for independent artists?
Oh, I think it's a component for sure. I just speaking from my own perspective, which is somewhat limited, and given that we're still not sure what form it's supposed to take. Creative people are being creative, and they're finding new ways to express themselves and to contact their audiences and to build bigger audiences. So I think the pandemic has maybe added some jet fuel to that. That's the way I perceive it. In general, artists just want to connect with audiences, and speaking from this side of the operation, I guess, it didn't change the way that I did things in a dramatic way. It kind of focused it in a different way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does perfectly. And you've got this split EP coming out with Troll Teeth. Tell us a little bit about how this has come about for you, this teaming up with another great band as well.
Well, I play well with others, to use an overused cliche, and I really like that. Troll Teeth are a really interesting band, and I like cross-pollination. That works well for me too. It was pretty simple, with a label like Electric Talon. Stephen Burdick, who runs it, asked me what I wanted to do next, and there were a couple of options, and one of them was to do a split. And because I was interested in doing that, I like that form. I like the short EP format, and I like this notion of it being a team effort. And frankly, looking out for the listeners, the audiences that we're trying to reach, I thought it would be fun and interesting for my audience to be exposed to Troll Teeth, who stylistically are different than me, and vice versa. And I know that they're a great band, and I really like their album previous to this. Goes Nowhere, Does Nothing. I really like that album, and the guys themselves I liked. So without being too lovey-dovey about it, it was all just a good opportunity to do all those things that I've always looked forward to doing, although I kind of see myself as a bit of a lone wolf. This was really fun, and it helped me to grow creatively, and hopefully it's going to allow my audience to experience maybe some great music that they wouldn't ordinarily check out, and vice versa.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about your tracks that people can expect to hear on this EP. Of course, our listeners have had a chance to hear Head, but tell us a little bit about the other tracks that you've got on this EP and where those tracks have come from for you.
Well, there are 3 tracks that I contributed to the EP, and the EP is called Blunt. And my 3 songs, the first one is Head, which is you've been so kind to start playing, and the second one is called Manchester Strawberry Blonde, and the third one is called Freak Boutique. In general, at this point in my career, and I reserve the right to change because that's what artists do, but at this point in my expression, what I wanted to do was I made an album in 2020 which was familiar heavy rock with a contemporary twist, all bass guitars, drums, and howling cranked to 11, and there was some predictable stuff on there. And I love doing that, and I'll be doing that again. There was one track on my last album, which the album was called Mobocracy, and the last track on that album was an acoustic track that was called Black. And it sort of felt a little bit, the whole thing felt a little bit like maybe Led Zeppelin 4. You know, they had some really heavy stuff on there, and then there would be these interesting interludes of acoustic music. And I wanted to sort of touch on that as well. So I wanted to express myself heavy on Mobocracy. But then at the very end of it, I put this song Black on there because I wanted to tell my audience, hey, this is a preview of where we're going next. And then what I did is continued on that theme. So the short version of a very long story is that Black was the preview to what Blunt has become for me, which is a continuation of the conversation I started with my audience on Mobocracy. And the songs on Blunt, the three that I just mentioned, they're all organic, meaning there are no heavy guitars or heavy bass or there are some heavy drums on it for sure. But I wanted to change a bit stylistically because A, that's what I felt, and B, that's where I want to take my audience. I wanted to let them know that things are going to change from time to time with me, and if you're interested, this is where I'm going. I wasn't trying to be manipulative because this is really where I felt I wanted to go with it. But stylistically, it's very tribal, it's organic, it's a little bit exotic. So there are some atypical heavy rock things going on there, although that's where my home is. And thematically, it continues the conversation that I started.
They are some pretty deep topics that you look at, things like social media, trolls, identity theft. They're pretty deep. Tell us a little bit about what sparked you wanting to write about those things that we come across in our everyday life now, just about.
Yeah, well, again, I reserve the right to change and to express myself differently now and then, but as any artist likes to do, and if we're, following our instincts, we kind of take stuff in and give it back. And I started this conversation of these things that were bearing down on us since probably about 2015 or so, and they continue to bear down on us. And things like social media, they are just going to become more pronounced. And those themes that I touched on specifically in Head are contemporary themes and were on my mind. So it's not I'm not trying to be finger wagging or soapboxing. It's more of, hey, here's what I'm experiencing, and here's the way I see it. So there's a cliche, I am the pond reflecting the oncoming stone. So that's the way I feel about it.
So what now for you as an artist? We've got Blunt, of course, coming out, but are things opening back up there so that you can start to do shows? Because we're still in lockdown here at the moment and will be for another 3 weeks. So are things opening up there for you so that you can go out and do shows?
The short answer is yes. Things are opening up, and we've got some people that are out there doing some touring around. I'm not going to do it for a few reasons, and I'll give you one or two of them. Is I'm trying to protect the folks that I'm going to be playing live with, and I want to protect the audience. I'm not feeling comfortable that we've got a really good handle on it all over the U.S., and that's where we would be doing live gigs right away. That said, I have the itch to play live, so being a solo artist, I can do things like I can play solo, I can busk on the streets, and that's what I've been doing. So for the foreseeable future, there's going to be no touring, and I'm not planning on doing that, although I've been rehearsing a bit with some of the musicians that are going to be playing with me. But predominantly, what I've been doing is busking, which is to go out on the street, open up my guitar case, and play whatever I feel like playing for whoever comes by. It's a bit of a commando mission, and I kind of like it. And It's keeping my chops it's keeping my fingers well calloused and my chops where they should be, and helping me to connect with that live experience. I would imagine that probably in 2022, for sure, there'll be some live organized gigs with, amps up to 11 kind of situation. I don't really see that in 2021, frankly, not for me. I have other friends that are doing that. Some are doing it successfully, and some are struggling. I'm just kind of following my instincts on this, and that's probably what we're going to continue to do.
Yeah. How do you find busking? Because I spoke to a friend over here who's a musician who's been doing that as well, and he said he finds it a great challenge because normally when people come along to his shows, they've paid money to be there to see him, so they're already interested in what he's doing. But he said one of the things he finds so challenging when you're busking is there's people walking past that don't know you at all, don't know your music. So there's always that challenge to try and captivate them and get them to stop and watch you. Is that a challenge that you enjoy and experience as well?
Well, it's a double-edged sword. I do enjoy it, or else I wouldn't do it. I think it's necessary, so it's one of those kinds of things that I do when I am at my bravest. If I'm feeling somewhat compromised or timid or fragile, which is rare, I don't go out and do it. I have to be feeling brave and bold and confident, sort of cocky. Yes, what happens is I know from the outset that I'm going to. Those people haven't sought me out and paid their good money to hear things, so they're not in my corner sort of rooting for me. If anything, those people that come by are just going about their own days and are not interested in being bothered by anything. And some will just walk by as if you're not there. Others will engage and react positively. Others will engage and react negatively. And others will just stand there and watch and toss a few coins into my guitar case. It's live without a net. It is probably the most real musical experience that I can imagine and that I've ever been exposed to. And I've been making records for more than 40 years, so we've been exposed to lots of things, and busking is always the most brutal and most real musical experience because they don't know your stuff, they don't care about it, they haven't sought you out, and you know right away whether you're connecting with them or not. So it's invigorating as an artist. So I do it not a lot, but I do it in some cases just to test my strength and my mettle.
Awesome. Well, mate, we are going to play Head on our show again right now. So is there anything you would like to say to our listeners out there before they take another listen to this amazing track? And also, how can our listeners follow you as well so they can see what's going on with your career in the future?
Well, first of all, I'm on all the social medias. My handle is Wax Mekanix. That's WAXMEKANIX. I'm on all the socials. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and you can find me at Electric Talon Records. As far as what I'm interested in saying about Head is, think for yourselves. Use your common sense. I'm not here to be preachy. I'm just here to remind us all that it's a dangerous world out there, and if we're going to make good decisions for ourselves and those people we care about, we have to pay attention that there are people out there that don't have our best interests in mind. And the very last thing is, I want to thank those listeners for even listening to me. It's a sincere expression that we use here in the U.S., which is thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And take care of those people that you love and tell them that you love them.